Hey, what's up? As many of you know, there have been two mass shootings in El Paso and Dayton within 24 hours of each other. Let me get right to the point. This is horrible to see. It's sad. It's infuriating. Maybe even depressing on some level. But I feel like what we're seeing is a reaction to the increase of black and brown people in America. And there's the demonization of migrants and black folks that's happening from the president on down. The challenge is that we've never really had an honest dialogue in America about the existence of racism, about the ways in which that racism has been institutionalized and weaponized against people of color. America was born out of violence. You have to appreciate that the indigenous people were massacred. You have to appreciate that enslaved Africans were brought here and worked for 250 years as slaves, and then you had Jim Crow and lynching and redlining and gerrymandering and all these other things that were ways in which to inhibit or prohibit the progress of black folks. Only since the late 1960s have you had the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Act, and the Fair Housing Act. So there's absolutely unequivocally no way that any rational person could expect that in 50 years you're going to undo the kind of tone and tenor that has been prevalent in this country for 350 years. And unless and until we have an honest dialogue about who we are, where we are, how we got here, and how we can really move forward, we will see these things play out. People felt like because Obama was elected that America had made some progress and that people are less racist in America and the country's moving forward. I didn't buy that then. I don't buy it now. I think that racism is very prevalent in America, very present in America. And even those who are not, many of those who are not racist are complicit in racism because they don't speak up against it. They don't speak out. When you see something happening and there is some issue of police brutality or some issue of racism that is very clear and it is caught on camera or in a picture or what have you, the majority of folks you see posting it are black folks. Where are the white people? Like, they should be outraged as much as we are. And I'm not saying none of them do, but I'm saying the majority of them don't, and that's not the majority of the people you see posting these things. When you look at these shootings, where in Texas, this man targeted Latinos. You look at Ohio, this guy possibly targeted black people, as 6 out of his 9 victims were black. You have to ask yourself the question, like, where are we? What's happening right now? The same thing that's been happening is my answer. Like, people say, well, you know, things didn't used to be this way. I'm like, what? Like, they were better before slavery? Better before segregation? Better before lynching? Better before Jim Crow? Like, we have to move away from this lie that the country has made like these huge leaps and bounds towards equity and equality for people. They haven't. It hasn't. We haven't. And we have a long way to go in order to get there. But again, my point is that unless and until we have an honest dialogue in this country about what was, what is racism, and how that affects every facet of American life for people of color, then we're never going to have any real progress. I don't care how many anecdotes people throw up, like Barack Obama and Oprah Winfrey and LeBron James, and those people have done things that are, you know, worthy of celebration, but they are the exception. They are not the rule. Right? The majority of black people still live in poverty, are still unemployed, are still underemployed, are still over incarcerated. Like, these still have 10% of the wealth of white people on average. So these things have not changed, which means fundamentally America has not changed. And so that is why I am so vocal. I am so outspoken. I am so passionate about these things because I'm tired of seeing this. I'm tired of the mass shootings. I'm tired of the murders in our own communities. I'm tired of seeing black people struggling and then being like made to feel like, you know, if you don't achieve, you haven't done everything in your power, and in some way it's your fault. Like, as opposed to looking at and deconstructing and pulling apart the system that has created these inequities for hundreds of years. And if we don't stop acting like things are not what they really are, we're never going to heal, we're never going to be able to move forward, and we're never going to be able to create the type of country that I feel like is possible. But it will take the deconstruction of racism. It will take the deconstruction of white privilege. It will take the deconstructing, the dismantling of white supremacy. And unless those things happen, people, we will never see real progress. We will have these shootings again. We will have these conversations again, and nothing will change. We have to have a real conversation.